Hello Oscar, Grandpa here. Hope you're well, and Mummy and Daddy too, and Annabelle, and you're having fun. Of course you're having fun. I hope you always have fun. And lots of love from me, Grandpa, and from Granny, and from Auntie Anna too, who's in Spain at the moment, as it so happens. So, where did we get to last week? And by the way, hello Moosey. Mustn't forget Moosey, must we? You all right, Moosey? I'm all right. You going to say hello to Oscar? Yep. There we go. And you going to be good, Moosey? Yeah, he'll be good. And we were reading last about Mr. Jelly. We didn't quite finish Mr. Jelly because he was really a bit of a scaredy cat. And he got back to his house and he thought, oh, help, police, murder, he screamed. But then he said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19. That's silly, isn't it? And then he saw what had fallen on him was only a leaf. Nothing but a leaf, a stupid red leaf. It works, he said out loud in wonderment. And you know, it did work. After that moment, Mr. Jelly became a changed man. Well, you can see that by looking at him, can't you? There he is, look. Mr. Jelly relaxing. And he never shrieks or shouts or screams or quivers or shakes or trembles anymore. And he never hides under the bedclothes anymore. Well, not very often. That's a nice story, isn't it? Okay, so what are we going to do next? We're going to do Mr. Lazy. So, Mr. Lazy. Mr. Lazy lives in Sleepyland, which is a very lazy looking and sleepy looking place. The birds in Sleepyland fly so slowly they sometimes fall out of the sky. The grass takes so long to grow it only needs cutting once a year. Even the trees are lazy looking and sleepy like. Look, there they are. And there's the bird. Look, the birds sleep as well by the look of it. And the trees are bending over asleep. And do you know what time everybody gets up in Sleepyland? The answer is, there's the clock, Oscar. What time do you think they get up in Sleepyland? The answer is they don't get up in the morning. They get up in the afternoon. And incidentally, this is what a Sleepyland clock looks like. Everything takes so long to do, there's only time for 4 hours a day. Do you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. He only has a day 4 hours long. Anyway, this story starts with Mr. Lazy being fast asleep in bed. There he is, fast asleep in bed. In Sleepyland, they call that being slow asleep. That's rather good, isn't it, Oscar? Slow asleep. He spends rather a lot of time in bed. It's his favourite place to be. He opened his eyes, yawned again. There he is yawning. And you know what he did, Oscar? He went back to sleep. Later, Mr. Lazy opened his eyes again, yawned again, and went back to sleep again. Silly Mr. Lazy. Much later, Mr. Lazy got up and went to make his breakfast. We say breakfast, although really it was tea time. He put the kettle on to make some tea. Kettles take 2 hours to boil in Sleepyland. Then he toasted a slice of bread. Bread takes 3 hours to go down brown in Sleepyland. Toast never gets burnt there. There he is with his loaf of bread, hoping it's going to toast. While he was waiting for his kettle to boil and his bread to toast, Mr. Lazy went into the garden of Yawn Cottage, as in, oh my, I'm yawning, Yawn Cottage, which was where he lived. He sat down on a chair, and you can probably guess what happened next. There he is, outside Yawn Cottage, sitting in the chair. Yes, that's right, he yawned and yawned again, and went to sleep. Suddenly he woke up with a jump. He's jumping there, isn't he? Which is something that doesn't happen very often to Mr. Lazy. And the reason he woke up with a jump was because of the noise. "Wake up," said the noise. "Wake up, wake up, wake up." There were two men standing in front of him. There's the two men. "I'm Mr. Busy," said one of the men. "And I'm Mr. Bustle," said the other. "Come along now," said Mr. Bustle busily. "We can't have you sleeping all day," added Mr. Busy, bustling Mr. Lazy to his feet. "But who are you?" asked Mr. Lazy. "We're Bustle and Busy," they replied. "Oh," said Mr. Lazy. Isn't that lovely, Oscar, to be called Mr. Bustle and Mr. Busy? "Come along now," said Mr. Busy. "We haven't got all day." "But," said Mr. Lazy. "No time for buts," said Mr. Busy, "or ifs," added Mr. Bustle. "There's the wood to chop, and the beds to make, and the floors to clean, and the coal to get, and the windows to polish, and the plates to wash, and the furniture to dust, and the grass to cut, and the hedges to clip, and the food to cook." "And the clothes to mend," added Mr. Busy. Poor Mr. Lazy. He sat there looking very unhappy at all the jobs he's got to do. "Oh dear," groaned Mr. Lazy in a daze. "The wood to clean, and the beds to get, and the floors to cut, and the coal to cook, and the windows to make, and the plates to mend, and the furniture to chop, and the grass to wash, and the hedges to dust, and the clothes to clip." He got it all completely wrong. He was in such a daze. You can't cook coal, can you, Oscar? And you can't make windows, and you can't mend plates, and you can't chop furniture. Well, I suppose you could. And you can't wash grass, can you? And the hedges to dust. Ah, so silly. He got it all completely wrong. So what happens next? Then Bustle and Busy set Mr. Lazy to work, chopping and making and cleaning and getting and polishing and washing and dusting and cutting and clipping and cooking and mending, not to mention all the fetching and carrying. Poor Mr. Lazy. There he is, look, hard at work, mending, cleaning. Gosh, he must be wondering what on earth's happening. "Now," they said when he'd finished, "it's time for a walk." And off they set on the longest walk Mr. Lazy had ever been on. Look, he doesn't look very happy, does he? Oh dear. Mr. Lazy is one of those people who never walks when he has a chance of sitting down, and never sits down when he has a chance of lying down. But this day he had no choice. They made him walk for miles and miles and miles until he felt his legs must be worn right down to his body. Poor Mr. Lazy, look at that. He's walked for miles and miles and miles. He does look unhappy, doesn't he? When they arrived back at Yawn Cottage, Mr. Busy said, "Right, now for a run." "Oh no," groaned Mr. Lazy. There they are, look. And he's got one of them's got Mr. Busy's got a whistle. "When I blow this whistle," said Mr. Bustle, producing a whistle, "you've got to start running." "As fast as you can," added Busy. Mr. Lazy groaned a deep groan and closed his eyes. Mr. Bustle put the whistle to his lips. Whee! Whistled the whistle. You like running, don't you, Oscar? Whee! Went the whistle. Poor Mr. Lazy started to run, but his legs weren't getting him anywhere. He opened his eyes and looked down to see why. And the reason his legs weren't getting him anywhere was because he was sitting on a chair in the garden. And there was no sign of Mr. Busy and Mr. Bustle. It had all been a terrible dream. And the whistle was the whistling kettle, boiling in the kitchen. Look, he's suddenly waking up thinking, "Oh, it was only a dream." Mr. Lazy heaved a sigh of relief, and he went into the kitchen, sat down to have his breakfast and to think about his dream. But you know what happened next? There he is, sitting down, having his breakfast and a cup of tea. You know what happened next, don't you, Oscar? "Wake up, Mr. Lazy. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up." Oh dear. That's a lovely story, isn't it? So, we've finished Mr. Jelly, done Mr. Lazy, and now Mr. Mean. Wow, that is some story. Let's have a look. We may not finish it today, but we'll start it. Mr. Mean lived up to his name. He lived in what could have been a nice house, but wasn't. He never painted it, or mended the windows, or repaired the roof. Look, it's very broken down, isn't it? Naughty Mr. Mean. Inside it was the same. It was the same. No carpets, no curtains, no pictures, no fires. Look, it's just bare inside, isn't it? The windows are broken. And Mr. Mean was so mean he made his furniture out of old orange boxes and then complained about the price of nails. Why, he was so mean, do you know what he gave his brother for Christmas last year? Can't guess, can you, Oscar? A piece of coal. Oh, that's awful. It wasn't as if Mr. Mean didn't have any money. Oh no, he had lots of money and he kept it all hidden in a box, which he kept in the kitchen. Look, there's all his money. Every evening he'd sit there counting it. It was the only thing Mr. Mean liked doing. But would he spend it? Oh, my dear, no. Not old Meanie. Not if he could help it. One day he was sitting in his gloomy kitchen having a gloomy meal. He only ever had one meal a day, and that day he was having a cup of water and a piece of bread which was 3 weeks old. Ooh, that's horrible. Suddenly he was interrupted by a knock at the door. Drat, he said, because he didn't like people. Drat and bother. He opened the door, and there on his doorstep stood a wizard. A rather fat wizard. Wow, what's going to happen now, Oscar? Hello, said the wizard. I wonder if by any chance, as it's such a warm day, you could possibly, if it's not too much trouble, be so kind as to, if it's not inconvenient perhaps, as I'm very thirsty, provide me with, do you think, a glass, if it's not too much to ask, of water, please. He is a very wordy wizard. There he is at the door, look, asking Mr. Mean to let him in. Have a glass of water. No, replied Mr. Mean rudely and shut the door in his face and went back into his kitchen to finish his meagre meal. Oh dear, naughty Mr. Mean. But there, standing in front of him, was the wizard. So the wizard, being a wizard of course, was able to go inside. How did you get in? Gasped Mr. Mean. Well, replied the wizard, it was by, how shall I put it, well, I just, well, you know, waved the old what's-its-name, magic wand, don't you know, and well, here I am, if you know what I mean. You must be very poor, he remarked kindly, looking around. Oh, yes, I am, lied Mr. Mean. Then perhaps I can help you, said the wizard, pulling up a box to sit down. There's the wizard. Whoa, so what happens next? The box didn't move, so the wizard pulled it harder, and this time it did move. In fact, it tipped up and spilled all Mr. Mean's money all over the floor. What's going to happen now? Well, 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 exclaimed the wizard, eyeing the money rolling all over the kitchen floor. Well, 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 well. It would appear to me, he continued, that you, sir, are an old meanie. Mr. Mean didn't hear him. He was too busy scrabbling all over the floor, trying to pick up his money. Silly Mr. Mean. And meanies, added the wizard, need to be taught a lesson. So saying, he waved his magic wand. What do you think happened next, Oscar? All the money turned into potatoes. Potatoes. Poor Mr. Mean. Look, his money's turned into potatoes. Ah! Oh dear, oh me, he wailed. Please turn my money back into money. Oh, please, 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 he begged. Perhaps, replied the wizard. But on the other hand, taking all things into account, by and large, things being what they are, on the face of it, perhaps not. However, continued the wordy wizard, if you make me a solemn promise never to be mean again, then I will turn your money back into money. But, he added sternly, if you are ever mean again, then it's, how can I put it, then it's potatoes for you, my lad, if not other vegetables as well. Then the wizard had the glass of water he'd come for in the first place, except it was a cup of water because Mr. Mean didn't have any glasses. Silly Mr. Mean. Then with another wave of his wand, he turned the potatoes back into money, and another wave of his wand made him disappear. Stupid wizard, muttered Mr. Mean, picking up all his money. And there's the wizard, waving his magic wand and turning the potatoes back to money. The following day, Mr. Mean decided to walk to town. He never took the bus because that cost money. On the way, he met an old washerwoman carrying an enormous bundle of washing. So, there we are, Oscar. What happens next? Well, we'll have to find out next week when I read to you again. So, lots of love. Have a lovely day with your little sister Annabelle and Mummy and Daddy. And it's bye from Grandpa and Granny, and lots of love from us and from Moosey. You all right, Moosey? Yep. So that's lovely to be able to read to you today, Oscar. Lots of love. Bye.